I like to shop. I'm just going to say that from the start, get it off my chest. I also run a small business that I started where we're doing video editing and that. And I needed to have something that would set us above everybody else because, you know, I'm working with students and I'm working with people who have autism. I needed something that would bring people to us to do their video. So I started looking through magazines, and then I saw it, and I wanted it. A orca sub. It was so cool. I was so excited. I thought we could get all sorts of cool stuff underneath the water if I could only get the dean to pay the $10,000 for it. Yeah, she didn't go for it. So I went with my next coolest thing in the magazine, turned the page, and I found my new love, a GoPro. So we decided the GoPro would be the way of the future for our group. And it started getting signed out by students, and they used it for obvious things, sporting matches. We attached it to a girl who uses a Segway to get around campus so she could show what it was like. We have it on the crew, the rowing team. So it got signed out, and it was okay for a while. But I wanted more. I wanted to still go higher. So I went back to the magazine.
And what she found was helicopters. Well, and it'll come to an event soon. Yeah. We went to a stride and glide, which was basically a run for the local Independence First group. And while we were there, we tried out a few concepts to see how well the idea could go across. And we first had this little guy, which unfortunately didn't really do so well in the testing process. Needless to say, it did not do well in the cold weather, but it still managed to get some footage off. But unfortunately, in the process, I had to dismantle it to get the footage out of it. So we went a bit bigger, and we came up with what I lovingly called the drunk pigeon, because it flew like one. This guy was a bit more pricey, where the idea was to eventually tape it to it, but after a few test flights, which partly included taking out someone in the lab, we decided even this still wasn't the right way to go. No. When it comes to something like this, you need something that actually fits the end result. I mean, you get what you pay for, and we got, well, little tiny cheap toys. So in the end, we got the Phantom. Ooh.
We only got 5 minutes.
Okay.
Jenny, go ahead.
So obviously this was our first try, the Phantom kind of losing control and going up in the air. But after a few tries, we actually got it to work, got it to hover, and we started with hunger cleanup. This is an initiative by Marquette University where we go out and clean up the streets of Milwaukee. And we got our lovely thing to hover above the crowds. We got to see different perspectives of what's going on. We got to see the crowds, what they were doing, what the kids were doing, and all that kind of stuff. Then we were also like, well, what else can we use this for? And we found out we can use it for concerts, for sporting events, for graduations. Of course, we get permission first because people like that kind of stuff. And then we were thinking, well, what else can we use it for? And we did some research and found out that journalists also use this too in the real world. They use it to report on disasters like hurricanes, tornadoes, and wildfires because, well, humans cannot go into that kind of stuff, but these can very easily. And they can determine radiation levels and heat levels where humans can't go into. And also, we did some more research and found it's used in education as well. 2 universities, University of Nebraska and University of Missouri, they use it in their journalism programs. They actually have droid programs where students learn how to use this equipment and everything, and they learn FAA regulations because, you know, we don't want this to go into the skies and hit a plane because that would be really, really bad.
So there are some things, though, all kidding aside, that you do have to pay attention to. First off, if you're going to use this, practice a lot. I've run it into my neighbor's fence. I've run it into students on campus. You know, sometimes trees. If you look at the propellers, they're pretty beat up. But the big thing in order to practice is to make sure you get lots of batteries because they only last for 8 minutes. And we live in Wisconsin. The other thing we found out is the cold does affect it. 40-degree weather, it just takes off and does what it wants. But, you know, I'm still waiting for that orca. I think I can still get it, and I think I deserve it. So I'm going to get gonged, but I'm going to show you my one successful flight. It does go up. Oh, full screen, yeah. That's okay. See? And I didn't even crash it into anything. So there you go.